The 60 years of marriage, and this one mistake destroyed everything. My name is Leonard. I am 83 years old, and I was married for 60 years, to the same woman through everything, and I made one mistake, one single mistake that ran like a crack through all of it, a crack so deep and so old that by the time I finally saw it clearly, truly saw it, the damage was done. The years were gone, and the woman I had loved for 6 decades was sitting across from me feeling something I never intended her to feel, something I would give everything I have left to undo. I am telling you this today because I do not want you to make the same mistake. I do not care if you have been married for 5 years or 50. I do not care if your marriage feels solid or shaky or somewhere in the complicated middle. What I am about to tell you matters. It matters more than almost anything else I could say. Please listen. My name is Leonard, and this is the truth I wish I had understood at 30. I met my wife Margaret when I was 21. She was 19. She was the most extraordinary person I had ever encountered, not in a flashy way, not in a way the world would necessarily notice. But she had this quality, this complete and genuine interest in everything and everyone around her, that made you feel, when she gave you her attention, like you were the most interesting person in the room. I fell in love with that quality before I fell in love with anything else. We married when I was 23, and for the first years everything felt right. We were young and close and honest in the way young people are honest, without the weight of accumulated years making honesty complicated. We talked about everything. We told each other the truth. We were present with each other in a way that felt completely natural. And then life arrived. Real life. Work and children and mortgages and obligations and the 1,000 daily demands that come when you are building something together. And slowly, so slowly I did not even notice it happening, I stopped. I stopped doing the thing that had made us close in the first place. I stopped truly listening to her. That is the mistake. That is the one thing. It sounds simple. It sounds almost too small to be the thing that cracks a 60-year marriage. But listen to me. Please listen. Because the stopping was not dramatic. It was not one day of deciding not to listen. It was gradual. It was the evening I came home from work exhausted, and she wanted to talk about her day, and I half listened while my mind was still at the office. It was the dinner where she said something important, something she had clearly been building toward, and I nodded and responded to the surface of it without hearing the depth underneath. It was the hundreds and then thousands of times she spoke and I was physically present and mentally absent. It was the way I had opinions about everything and I shared them freely, but I had stopped genuinely asking for hers. It was the way I assumed I knew her. After all these years, of course I knew her. And stopped being curious. Stopped asking the real questions. Stopped treating her like someone still capable of surprising me. I loved her completely. I want you to know that. There was never a day I did not love Margaret. But love without attention becomes invisible. Love without curiosity becomes assumption. Love without truly listening becomes a man and a woman living parallel lives in the same house, close enough to touch but somehow not quite reaching each other. And Margaret, patient, extraordinary Margaret, she tried to tell me, not in dramatic ways, not in arguments or ultimatums, in the quiet ways that good people try to tell you things when they do not want to make you feel attacked. She would say, "Leonard, you are not really listening." And I would say, "Yes, I am." And I believed it, because I was hearing the words. I just was not receiving the meaning. I was not receiving her. There is a difference between hearing someone and truly listening to them. Hearing is passive. Listening is active. Listening is putting down whatever you are holding and looking at the person and making them feel in their body, in their chest. that what they are saying matters, that they matter, that you are genuinely interested in what is happening inside them. I heard Margaret for decades. I rarely truly listened, and the cost of that, paid slowly, invisibly, over 60 years, was an accumulation of small distances, each one tiny, each one barely noticeable, but together, layered year upon year upon year, they added up to a gap, a real gap, a quiet space between us where closeness should have been. It was our granddaughter who finally made me see it. She was visiting with her husband. They had been married for 2 years, still in the early tender years of it, and I watched him listen to her tell a story. He put his phone down. He turned his whole body toward her. He asked questions, real ones. He laughed in the right places. He was completely there. And I watched Margaret watch them. And I saw something in her face that broke my heart, a kind of wistfulness, a recognition of something she had wanted and not fully had. And I thought, when did I stop doing that? When did I stop being that man? I went to her that night. We were in our bedroom. She was reading, and I sat on the edge of the bed and I said, "Margaret, I have not been listening to you. Not really. Not for a long time." She lowered her book. She looked at me for a long moment, and she said, "No, Leonard, you have not." Those 4 words, said quietly, without anger, without drama, just truth. Those 4 words were the most painful thing I've ever heard, because they were completely, undeniably true. We talked that night longer than we had talked in years, real talking. Me asking and her telling and me actually receiving what she said. And what I heard, what I finally let in after decades of half listening, was a woman I thought I knew completely but had not truly known in years. She had grown and changed and deepened in ways I had missed because I had stopped being curious. I had assumed I knew her and stopped asking. She told me things she had been carrying alone because she had learned that bringing them to me meant they would be half heard and then met with my opinion rather than my attention. She told me she had felt lonely sometimes, inside our marriage, inside our home, with me sitting 10 feet away, lonely, and I had not known, because I had not asked, because I had not listened. We had 4 years after that conversation, 4 years where I practiced, genuinely practiced, with intention and effort, truly listening to her, putting everything down when she spoke, asking the real questions, staying curious about who she was and who she was becoming, being there completely. And those 4 years, those 4 intentional, attentive, genuinely present years, were some of the most connected we had ever been, more connected than the early years when closeness came easily, because this closeness was chosen, worked for, built deliberately out of the understanding of what we had almost lost. Margaret passed away 18 months ago, and I am grateful, more grateful than I can express, that we had those 4 years. But I also live with the knowledge that it could have been 40, that the closeness we found at the end was available to us all along, if I had only kept listening. So I want to say this to every person in a relationship watching this today. Put the phone down. Turn toward the person you love. Ask them something real, not how was your day, not what do you want for dinner, something real. Ask them what they are thinking about lately. Ask them what they are afraid of. Ask them what they are proud of. Ask them what they dream about. And then, this is the important part, be quiet. Let them answer. Do not fill the space with your own thoughts. Do not meet their words with your opinions before you have truly received what they are giving you. Just listen. Let them feel heard. Let them feel that what is happening inside them matters to you. Let them feel seen, because being truly seen by the person you love is one of the greatest gifts one human being can give another. And it costs nothing, nothing except your full attention, your presence, your genuine curiosity about the person who chose you. Do not wait until the gap is wide. Do not wait until the distance has accumulated into something that takes years to cross. Start tonight. Start now. Turn to the person you love and truly listen. Not for their sake only, for yours. Because a marriage where two people truly listen to each other is one of the most beautiful things available to a human life. I know because I had glimpses of it, and I know because I almost missed it entirely. My name is Leonard. I am 83 years old. I was married for 60 years, and the one mistake I made, the only one that truly mattered, was that I stopped listening. Do not make my mistake, please. Your people are waiting to be heard. Go listen to them. Thank you.